Hi everybody, this is Beth from the Harbor Springs Area Historical Society, coming to you from Lakeview Cemetery. We thought that this month, as it's getting close to Halloween, we would spookify our digital programming and talk a little bit about the history of Lakeview Cemetery, some of the famous and historical figures who are buried here, gravestone architecture, and much more.
Hello everybody, my name is Molly Jones. I'm a social studies teacher as well as a trustee for the Historical Society, and I'm joining Beth Silik today in our series, These Are Matters of Grave Importance. One grave in particular that I'd like to highlight here is the grave of John C. Wright, who was known as the Michigan's Indian poet.
Wright lived most of his life here in Harbor Springs, but died in Elma, Michigan in 1939. His body was later exhumed and moved here.
A cemetery, especially Christian burials, are traditional from east to west, where your head would be at the gravestone at the west end and your feet would face eastward, toward the rising sun, toward the Savior in the resurrection. But this one is actually facing to the south. It's more of the north-south orientation, and it's also buried into the ground.
Now across the way is a nearly identical grave designed by a famous stonemason in town named Dan Franklin. And legend has it that John admired this grave and expressed the desire to have his own grave in a similar design. So when he was reburied here, his wishes were honored. John Wright is perfect for our series this month as we look at even the epitaph, a form of writing, an inscription on a tomb that commemorates or epitomizes the dead person. These are found often in a cemetery. He wrote on the death of an old Indian in Northern Breezes, published in 1917. To my call there is no answer, but his spirit has not gone. It dwelleth in the forest and greets me there at dawn. It lingers in the maples, it murmurs in the stream. I hear it in the branches, it whispers in my dream. It fills all living creatures with simple faith each day. His spirit lives on every hill and will not go away. And he dedicates his book, The Crooked Tree, to those heroic souls, native people, who in many instances did their work without reward and now lie in obscure graves. And The Crooked Tree is a collection of stories and oral histories shared by his Odawa grandmother. It includes origin tales such as the origin of Sleeping Bear Islands and relates feats of magic performed by the natives of L'Arbre Croche. Although witnessed by European settlers and Christians, this was often regarded as Indian magic or witchcraft. I wonder if Christians were spooked by Father Wycamp, who erected a white tomb and spent many hours a day meditating there. John Wright writes about this too in the chapter entitled The Strange Case of Father Wycamp.